What's up, YouTube? Now that NBA free agency has slowed down a little bit, I really wanted to come on here and get my rankings for every single team post free agency. There's a lot of key moves I want to go over and a lot of, underrated moves that I feel like no one is really talking about that I want to highlight. So yeah, let's just get straight into it here. I created these tiers. We got the title favorites tier, we got the contenders, we got playoff teams, we got the play-in teams, we got the rebuild teams, and then we got the top 3 pick tier. So the first team up is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, in my opinion, probably made the biggest move in free agency so far, signing Miles Turner. They did waive Damian Lillard in the process, but that doesn't really affect their ranking for me going into next season because Damian Lillard is likely not going to play next season because he tore his Achilles in the playoffs in the first round. That, like I said, that just doesn't really affect the ranking for me. So the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm stuck between the play-in team and the playoff teams tier because I think with Giannis, I think he's probably the biggest floor raiser in the entire league. Honestly, other than maybe Nikola Jokic or maybe like Luka, but I think you can make the argument that he's probably the biggest floor raiser. So I think Giannis probably gets you a top 6 seed, especially in the weak East going into next season. Obviously, we got the Pacers and the Celtics not really being threats with Tatum and Halliburton's injury. So I'm going to go ahead and probably put Milwaukee in the playoff teams tier. I could probably lower them to play in, as the video goes on. But as of right now, I think they're a playoff team. Just thinking about how weak the Eastern Conference is next season, and they have a top 2 player in the world, in my opinion, in Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Milwaukee Bucks have also re-signed a lot of their talent. They're bringing back a lot of their talent, like Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Ryan Rollins. Like they re-signed a lot of their guys. They did lose Brook Lopez in the process, but they gained a significant upgrade in Miles Turner. Brook Lopez, obviously, he's an amazing player. He's been an amazing player in his career, but he's definitely slowing down in his career. He's very slow. Like he's just not the same player, honestly. Not to shit on Brook Lopez or anything, but Miles Turner is a significant upgrade over Brook Lopez. So yeah, I'm gonna put the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoff teams tier. Next up, we got the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets made the terrible draft decision, in my opinion, to draft 5 players in the first round, and like 3 of them were point guards, and I thought they should have traded at least 2 of those picks, maybe gain some future assets or maybe like a young player. They also made the trade for Cam Johnson, trading Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. But honestly, man, I just don't think the Brooklyn Nets are going to be that good. Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. are your best players, also Nick Claxton. I don't think they're going to be top 3 pick bad. So I'm going to put them in the rebuild tier. I don't think they're that bad. I definitely think they got some talent on their team. I think Michael Porter Jr., he averaged 18 points last year with the Denver Nuggets. So I have no other reason to believe, when he's going to be able to get more shots up. I believe he averages 20 plus points per game, maybe like even 22 points per game around that, ballpark. I think he's going to have probably a career year with the Brooklyn Nets, honestly. And then Cam Thomas, we all know he's a bucket. So yeah, I don't think it's possible for them to be top 3 pick bad, but I think it's kind of unlikely, honestly. Next up, we got the New York Knicks. Now, the New York Knicks are probably contenders. Just thinking about it off the top of my head, they haven't really made a significant move this offseason. They've had a very good offseason, though, signing Jordan Clarkson, Gershon Yabusele. Like, those are key pieces off the bench to me. This is a team that has one of the best starting lineups in the league. And now you finally get some bench pieces. That was always a problem for me with the Knicks. Like, they just never really had the depth. And now you bring in Jordan Clarkson and Gershon Yabusele, who could be very key rotational pieces. You also have Miles McBride off the bench. And depending on certain lineups, you probably have Mitchell Robinson off the bench as well. So, I mean, to me, man, I think the New York Knicks are absolutely contenders. I have no other reason. I mean, they made the Eastern Conference Finals last season, and they got, I don't want to say significantly better, but they definitely made some moves to me that pretty much moved me. That's what I'll say. I really like the Jordan Clarkson and Gershon Yabusele pickups. Like, those were huge to me. Next up, we got the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors in free agency haven't really done much, but, I mean, we're kind of got to treat it like they did get Brandon Ingram this offseason. I know they got him at the deadline, but he never really played. So he's going to play his first game for the Toronto Raptors next season. They also drafted Colin Murray-Boyles, who I like a lot. To me, the Toronto Raptors are a play-in team in the Eastern Conference. I don't think they're going to be bad. Like, I don't think they're going to be 25. What did they win? Like 25 wins last season. I don't think they're going to be that bad. I think this is a team that can win 30 to 35 games, maybe even 40. I really like their team. A lot of underrated talent. I think Emmanuel Quickley is probably going to be more healthy, at least I hope, next season. RJ Barrett had quietly a career year for this Toronto Raptors team. And then they also got an all-star in Scotty Barnes. Brandon Ingram, all-star level player as well. Jakob Poeltl, who's a serviceable center. I mean, they got a pretty solid roster. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but play-in, I definitely think they're going to be like a 7, 8, maybe 9 seed. And I could definitely see that. Next up, we got the Utah Jazz. They're clearly rebuilding, and they don't really have a franchise cornerstone right now. Maybe Ace Bailey could be that. I think Ace Bailey can be that, but probably not in his year one season. And this is just a really young team to me. Like, they traded a lot of their vets, like John Collins, Colin Sexton, and Jordan Clarkson. Like, this is just such a young team. They're going to be fun to watch, don't get me wrong. They might even trade Lauri Markkanen. I think Lauri Markkanen is for sure gone, at least by the deadline, if he's not gone at some point this offseason. And I've been hearing rumors as well with Walker Kessler being a trade asset as well for a lot of teams. So, I don't know, man. This Utah Jazz team, I like where they're headed in terms of the future. But next season, I still think they're going to be pretty bad, honestly. So, next up, we got the Houston Rockets. Now, the Houston Rockets have jumped to contenders, in my opinion. What have the Houston Rockets done? Obviously, acquired Kevin Durant. But they also have quietly acquired a lot of, other talent as well. Clint Capella, I don't think he's what he used to be when he was playing with Harden in the Houston days. But he returns to Houston now. And then also, Dorian Finney-Smith was such an underrated signing. I think he's one of the best 3-and-D players in the entire league. I'm very high on Dorian Finney-Smith as a 3-and-D player. I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. He did sort of in Brooklyn, and then he went to the Lakers, and I feel like everyone just kind of started underrating him once he went to the Lakers. So I think, the Houston Rockets, man, the 3-and-D talent they got on the roster, I mean, Tari Eason, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jabari Smith Jr. There's just a lot of talent on this team, especially at the wing position, obviously with Kevin Durant and the other names I just mentioned. The only weakness I would say probably on this team, and this is just nitpicking, is probably at the guard position, especially at the point guard position. But, I mean, Fred VanVleet, I think he's going to be much better this year, especially with Kevin Durant. I think it's going to open the floor so much for him, and I don't think he's going to be asked to do as much. And I also really believe in Reed Sheppard, man. I was very high on him coming out of last year's draft. I thought he was the best shooter in that draft. So I just hope he has a bigger role on this team, man. But, man, I am super high on the Rockets. I think they're probably the second or third best team in the Western Conference after, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, yeah, man, I really like this Houston Rockets team. And the defense on this team, man, I think, they're probably going to be the best defensive team in the league. If it's not OKC, it's probably going to be the Houston Rockets. So, man, Kevin Durant's my favorite player, and I think this is probably his best chance at winning a ring in a while, probably since Golden State. So, yeah, man, I'm pretty excited to watch the Houston Rockets. Next up, we got the New Orleans Pelicans, man. The New Orleans Pelicans, they've brought back a lot of their guys. They just re-signed Herb Jones. I don't agree with Joe Dumars giving up that pick. That could be a Milwaukee Bucks pick, especially if they trade Giannis. Like, that could be very, very bad. But as far as what they've done this free agency and what they've done this offseason, I still think their team is going to be, for me, honestly, it's not even that their team is bad. It's just they have horrible health luck. I mean, Zion's never healthy. Yeah, the DeJounte Murray injury. Like, their players are just constantly banged up, man. I just think they need to be healthy, and they're going to be like a playoff team. But maybe not in this Western Conference. I mean, this Western Conference is going to be stacked, man. But I'm going to put the New Orleans Pelicans in the play-in tier. I think they could be a playoff team, man. They just need to have some luck on their side, and they just have not had that. And I'm not going to bank on it this year again. I think they're going to be a play-in team. But like I said, I mean, I like what they've done. They're bringing in Jordan Poole. They traded C.J. McCollum for Jordan Poole. I thought that was a significant, upgrade, especially at this point. I mean, C.J. McCollum is still an amazing player, don't get me wrong. But I think Jordan Poole had a very, very good year with the Washington Wizards. And I think that last year with the Warriors kind of ruined Jordan Poole's reputation. I still think he's an amazing player. And I really like Jordan Poole's fit on this team. I thought drafting Jeremiah Fears after trading Jordan Poole was a bit redundant. They do a lot of the same things. I don't hate it. I was just a bit surprised by it. But I really like the New Orleans Pelicans. You got Zion. I think Zion, when healthy, is a top 15 player. And I think Trey Murphy is in for a breakout year. Averaged 21 points per game last season. Like, I just think he's one of those players, man. I think if he just has higher volume, he can be an all-star in this league. Herb Jones, one of the best defenders in the league. Like, I could just go on and on with this roster. Drafting Derek Queen. I think Derek Queen, a bit of a strange fit next to Zion, but I still think he's one of those guys you could just plug and play, honestly. And then you got Yves Missy. I think he's a very underrated, young big man in this league. So, yeah, man, I really like New Orleans going into next year. Next up, we got the LA Lakers. They haven't really done much. Obviously, they signed DeAndre Ayton. That was a big need. They really needed a center. And then they just got Jake LaRavia. Like, they haven't really done that much. DeAndre Ayton, like I said, I'm not saying that wasn't a huge move, but other than DeAndre Ayton, which felt like an obvious move, other than that, Rob Pelinka hasn't really done much, but you still got a top 3 player in the world, in my opinion, top 4 player in the world, in my opinion, and Luka Doncic. And then you got LeBron James, who hasn't really shown any signs of slowing down. I still think he's going to be a significant player for this team. I think he's going to average 20 plus again. Then you got Austin Reeves, who had a breakout year last year. And then obviously, like I said, you brought in DeAndre Ayton, fills a huge hole on this team from last season. I'm going to go ahead and put the Lakers as a playoff team. I don't think they're quite contenders yet. I still think they need to get some defenders on the wing. Jared Vanderbilt, sure, he's an amazing defender, but he's kind of unplayable on offense. You lost Dorian Finney-Smith. If you're the Lakers, you really need to bring in some wing defenders for this team. So yeah, I think that's what's going to prevent them from being contenders. If they get that, I think I would probably consider moving them up, but I don't think they're a top 3 team as of right now in the Western Conference. Next up, we got the Chicago Bulls, man. The Chicago Bulls, they traded Lonzo Ball. They still haven't re-signed Josh Giddey. I don't expect them to be very, very good next season. They drafted Noah Osengwe. I just don't know. They're probably the worst ran franchise in the league. Like, they just can't choose whether to rebuild. Like, they're settled with just being a play-in team, and I don't even think they'll be that next year. I'm going to go ahead and put them in rebuild, even though they're technically not rebuilding. I just don't think they're good enough to be a play-in team next season. So this is probably going to be good for the Bulls. Maybe they can finally secure like a top 5 pick in next year's draft. And then, I mean, you got AJ coming out. You got Cam Boozer coming out. You also got Darren Peterson coming out. So there's some talent in next year's draft, man. Don't get me wrong. I just think they need to, secure a top 3, even a top 5 pick next year would be very solid. Like, this team, know what direction they're headed in. Like, I'm just so confused with this team. But anyways, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves, to me, are going to be a playoff team. They re-signed Julius Randle. They were in rumors to get Kevin Durant, and I kind of really wanted Kevin Durant to go there. But Anthony Edwards, man, I think he takes a huge leap next year. I think he's going to be an MVP candidate. They also drafted Joan Berenger out of, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, who looks very solid in summer league. He just had 7 blocks. They're calling him the Rudy Gobert replacement. The Minnesota Timberwolves going into next season. I think Rob Dillingham probably gets, at least more run than he got last season. So yeah, man, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are for sure a playoff team going into next season. I think Julius Randle, now that he built some chemistry with Anthony Edwards, played amazing, honestly, in the playoffs. I trust the Minnesota Timberwolves to be a playoff team next year. Next up, we got the Portland Trailblazers, man. The Portland Trailblazers, a super young team. They drafted Young Hansen with the 16th overall pick. I kind of, I think everyone honestly was surprised to see him drafted with the 16th overall pick. A lot of mocks had him going in like the 40s. So a lot of people say it's a reach. But, I mean, from what I saw, I really liked what I saw from him. So I'm not going to go ahead and call this, a terrible move yet. Obviously, he hasn't played at all yet. And they also made this Anthony Simons trade. They traded him to the Boston Celtics for Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is going to bring, some winning to this team. I think they could sneak into being a playoff team, honestly. But I'm not going to go ahead and do that yet. I'm going to go ahead and put them at a play-in team. But honestly, man, don't be surprised if the Portland Trailblazers are a top 6 team in the Western Conference. I know it sounds crazy right now, but if you look at the talent on this roster, man, Shaedon Sharpe, I think, is going to have a breakout year. You got Deni Avdija. Like I said, you brought in Drew Holiday. You traded DeAndre Ayton. So now that gives younger guys like Donovan Clingan and Young Hansen, even Robert Williams. Like, they have a lot of talent. Like, trading DeAndre Ayton, they still have 3 really good centers. Well, it's a wait and see with Young Hansen, but I still think, he's going to be pretty solid, honestly. I know there's a lot of talent in the league, and it sounds crazy to say Deni Avdija and Shaedon Sharpe could be all-stars. But honestly, man, I think they're one of the more underrated players. Like, I think Portland Trailblazers just have a team of underrated players, honestly. Shaedon Sharpe, like I said, I think he's going to have a breakout year. Deni Avdija quietly had a breakout year last season, just no one really talked about it because he plays for the Portland Trailblazers. But I think he could have an even bigger year for this Portland Trailblazers team next year. I really like Portland going into next season. So the Denver Nuggets, to me, absolutely contenders. They have won the offseason, traded for Cam Johnson. I think that's an upgrade over Michael Porter Jr. They brought in Bruce Brown, who won a championship with them in 2023. They also brought in Tim Hardaway Jr. Like, this is a team. They're also getting Deron Holmes, who was a rookie they drafted last year, who didn't even play because he tore his Achilles. So now, they really needed a backup center for this team. They also got Jonas Valanciunas, so they definitely have some more center depth. They had their backup center was Zeke Naji and DeAndre Jordan, so those are huge upgrades. Jonas Valanciunas and Deron Holmes. I really like Deron Holmes coming out of the draft. So if he can, that Achilles tear is probably gonna, make him lose some athleticism. But I still think he's a significant upgrade over DeAndre Jordan, honestly, even with that Achilles tear. But honestly, man, the Denver Nuggets, man, they have the best player in the world on their team, obviously, Nikola Jokic. If the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't exist, I'd probably have the Denver Nuggets in title favorites, honestly, man. Don't be surprised if they win the finals next year. That's all I'm saying. Like, this team got significantly better, man. They took the NBA champs in the Oklahoma City Thunder to 7 games, and they really did get significantly better. Like, I don't think people were quite realizing it. You give Nikola Jokic some help like this team is very deep. They might even sign Russell Westbrook. I think it's kind of unlikely at this point, but still, even if they re-sign Russell Westbrook, that's even more depth that they could add to this team. So yeah, man, I think the Denver Nuggets, I'm thinking very highly of the Denver Nuggets going into next season. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, man, I don't think this needs much explanation. They're bringing everybody pretty much back from their team, so they're title favorites to me going into next season for sure. So yeah, let's go with the Memphis Grizzlies. Oh, they also re-signed J-Dub and Chet to huge extensions. There's a lot of people that are worried about that potentially handicapping them going into the future. But going into next season, man, I still think they're title favorites. I don't think that's really going to affect them next year. So yeah, definitely still title favorites. Next up, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies made the huge trade, trading Desmond Bane for 5 first-round picks, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Cole Anthony. They also signed Ty Jerome this offseason. I think that was a very, good move for the future, but going into next season, I still don't think they got better this offseason, and I just don't think they're a top 6 team in their Western Conference. And like I said, they also re-signed a lot of their guys like Santi Aldama. They gave Jaren Jackson also a huge extension. But yeah, man, I just don't think they're a top 6 team in the Western Conference. I think they're more of like a 7 or 8 play-in team. And yeah, next up we got the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks, obviously, we know Kyrie is probably not going to play next season, so that could, tank them a lot. But they got Cooper Flag, with the number 1 overall pick. I think it was pretty rigged, honestly, if I'm being honest. But they also signed D'Angelo Russell. And I just think, man, when Kyrie comes back, this team is contenders. Like, they have such a good roster. They have one of the more deeper rosters in the league. And yeah, man, I think once Kyrie comes back, this team is definitely contenders. Nico Harrison got bailed out with the Cooper Flag stuff. That's all I got to say. Next up, we got the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs obviously selected Dylan Harper with the 2nd overall pick. They traded for De'Aaron Fox at last year's trade deadline. They also had one of the more underrated moves in free agency so far, signing Luke Kornet. And I think a lot of people are not talking about this. Luke Kornet got so much better. I'm a Celtics fan, so I'm going to tell you that if you're a Spurs fan listening to this, all I got to say is, man, Luke Kornet has gotten so much better. I'll be honest, I used to hate Luke Kornet. I thought he was terrible like 2 years ago when the Celtics first got him. But last year, man, he was honestly very serviceable. And in the playoffs, he was amazing. Like, this guy, I think in certain lineups with Wemby, like, the rim protection is going to be insane with Luke Kornet. That length with Luke Kornet and Wemby. Like, I think Luke Kornet was such an underrated signing for the Spurs team, honestly, man. And they also drafted Carter Bryant. I didn't even mention that with the 14th overall pick. The San Antonio Spurs are a playoff team. They're a playoff team to me, honestly, man. And that leaves pretty much the top 6 in the Western Conference already set up. We got the Thunder, the Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, the Lakers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Dallas Mavericks, and the San Antonio Spurs. And I know that's going to leave off, some of these teams down here like the Clippers and Warriors. Honestly, man. But I just think anything could happen in this Western Conference, and I'm going to take the youth, honestly, over, risky teams like the Clippers with, potential injuries to Kawhi Leonard. Like, you never really know. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. We still got to talk about the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns obviously are going through a rebuild. They just gave Devin Booker a huge extension, making $75 million a year. They traded Kevin Durant for Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. They also selected Kaman Malawach, who I thought was a steal with the 10th overall pick that they got from the KD trade. I don't know if they're playing. They do have Devin Booker on the team. I kind of want to put them in play-in, but the Western Conference is too stacked, man. It is just too stacked. I think Jalen Green is going to have a solid year with the Suns, honestly. I think, he has a chip on his shoulder. And Kevin Malawach, I think, was a center they really needed. They also traded for Mark Williams. Like, this is a team that had Yusuf Nurkic and Nick Richards starting for them at center. So Mark Williams and Kevin Malawach, huge upgrades from last season. But like I said, in the Eastern Conference, I think they could definitely be like a play-in team, maybe even a potential top 6. But in the Western Conference, man, I don't even think they're a play-in team. But I think they're going to be quietly competitive next season. Next up, we got the Clippers. I know a lot of people are going to be shocked by this, but just look at the Western Conference, man. Like, some team has to be left out, and I think it has to be the Clippers. I'm actually going to, lower the New Orleans Pelicans down here just because I realize we only have one play-in spot left. But the Clippers, man, they had a very solid year last year, and they also brought in Brook Lopez. I thought that was a very good signing as well. But, man, I just think these teams above them are better, and that's really what it comes down to. And I just don't trust them with the injuries to, Kawhi Leonard. I just don't know. He was fairly healthy last year. That was probably his most healthy year in forever, honestly. But, yeah, man, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Harden can replicate that year that he had last year. I think we could see a decline. I mean, the guy's like 36 years old now. I don't think he has as good of a year as he had last year. Like, Harden was just amazing last year. And I hate to doubt him like that, but honestly, man, I just don't know. I don't know with the Clippers. I think a lot of people are not going to like this, but, I mean, that's what I got to say. Next up, we got the Golden State Warriors. Golden State Warriors fans, I'm sorry, but I don't know, man. I just don't think they're better than any of these teams. They haven't really made any moves. Obviously, their team is expensive, so they can't really make a lot of moves. There's rumors that they're going to get Al Horford. We'll see about that. We're still waiting on the Jonathan Kuminga news, so I don't even know what's going on with that. But they haven't really done anything so far in free agency. So, yeah, man, I just don't know. I don't know with the Golden State Warriors. I think they could be a top 6 team. Maybe the one team I'm probably unsure of out of this top 6. Like, I think Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets are for sure locks. And I honestly think the Minnesota Timberwolves are locks. Like, I think that's top 4 for sure. And then the Mavs, I think, with potential injury to, like, Anthony Davis, and obviously with the Kyrie injury, I think they could fall off. The Spurs are a young team, but I'm counting on them as, I think they have such a good roster, man, and I think Fox will be an all-star. I think they have 2 legitimate all-stars on this team with Wemby and Fox, and I think they have a lot of good depth pieces like Devin Vassell, Dylan Harper, Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, Luke Cornett now. Like, this team is just so good. So if there's one team I could probably take off here, it'd probably be the Mavs or the Spurs. Spurs just because of youth and Mavs just because of potential injury. But honestly, man, this is how I'm going to leave it. We got the Detroit Pistons. Pistons fans, I'm sorry, man. I put the Milwaukee Bucks here above you. I really did put the Milwaukee Bucks here above you, but that's because they got a top 2 player in the world, in my opinion. And the Pistons, man, Malik Beasley, who had a career year with them last year, was second in most improved, I believe. Was it six? It was 6th man of the year. I'm sorry. Who knows what's going to go on with him? That would be a huge loss. They also lost Dennis Schroeder. Like, they also lost Tim Hardaway Jr., and all they've really done is sign Duncan Robinson. So I don't know with this Pistons team, man. I don't like what they've done this offseason. I thought they were going to come in and be aggressive. Like, they've been a free agency loser to me. So I'm going to put the Pistons as a play-in team. I do think they're going to take that 7 spot in the play-in. Like, I think they're the first, play-in team. Like, I still think they're probably going to be a playoff team. But yeah, man. I guess we could actually put, technically, because 7 and 8 is a playoff team, but I don't want to do it like that. So I think they're going to be a play-in team, but they're going to win their play-in games is what I'm saying. So I think they'll end up getting like that 7, maybe possibly 8 seed, but next up, we got the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings, man, I just don't know. They're similar. They're like the Bulls of the Western Conference, in my opinion. Like, they just can't pick a direction. And, man, they're not a play-in team to me. I know they got talent like Levine, DeRozan, and Sabonis, but I don't know what it is. There's rumors that they want Jonathan Kuminga now. Like, I'm just so confused. Are they trying to be competitive? It sounds like they're trying to be competitive, but their roster is just not competitive. Like, it's not good enough, honestly, to be a top 6 team in the Western Conference. I think their ceiling is honestly a play-in team. And that would probably have to come with injury to these top 8 teams that I have above them. Like, I would probably pick the Pelicans to get out of this tier before I'd pick the Sacramento Kings. Next up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think I need to really explain much. I think health is the reason they probably weren't in the NBA Finals last season. I don't know if that's a hot take. Not to disrespect the Pacers at all. I really like the Pacers. I'm a huge Halliburton. I'm a huge Nembhard fan. But honestly, man, with the Cavaliers, especially getting Lonzo Ball, I know we're going to bring up the health of Lonzo Ball. But honestly, man, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I just think they have one of the best rosters in the NBA. I almost said NFL. Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, now Lonzo Ball. You got DeAndre Hunter. Like, this is Jalen Tyson, who they drafted last year. I thought was a huge pick. I think he's going to be a big part of this rotation. They drafted Tyrese Proctor. Don't know what his role is going to be on this team. They got a lot of guards on this team, so I'm not sure with that. But yeah, man, I really like. They re-signed Sam Merrill as well, which I thought was huge. They did lose Ty Jerome, but I honestly think Lonzo Ball is an upgrade over Ty Jerome. I know that might be a hot take. I don't know. But he just provides a much different dynamic. I think Ty Jerome was sort of similar to Darius Garland in ways. Like, he was Ty Jerome's a bucket. He can be a playmaker. But Lonzo Ball, man, better rebounder, better defender, better playmaker than Ty Jerome. And I think that really provides much more than what Ty Jerome could provide. But anyways, man, we got the Boston Celtics next up. My Boston Celtics. It's just going to be a down year. That's what it is. They traded Kristaps Porzingis. They traded Drew Holiday. They lost Luke Kornet. They're probably going to lose Al Horford. And Jason Tatum's not playing at all next season with the torn Achilles. They did acquire Anthony Simons. I like that pickup, definitely. And other than that, man, just kind of have to build through the draft, and that's what they've done. That's what they're trying to do, at least, drafting Amari Williams, drafting Hugo Gonzalez. I'm excited for both of those guys, honestly. Hugo Gonzalez, I think, he can show his potential as a point forward, especially with Tatum being out. I hope Joe Mazzulla honestly takes this year to just let the young guys eat. Peyton Pritchard, like all these guys, like I just want to see that. I want to see Amari Williams in the rotation. I want to see Hugo Gonzalez get significant minutes, honestly, man. But I'm going to put the Boston Celtics as a play-in team. I think the Boston Celtics are still good enough. You got Jaylen Brown, who's a top 25 player in the league, in my opinion. You got Derek White still. Like, you got Anthony Simons, who's another, 20-point-per-game scorer. Like, I still think this is a good enough roster, especially in the weaker Eastern Conference next season. So, I'm going to still have the Boston Celtics as a play-in team, probably as that 9 or 10 seed. I don't know if they'll win a play-in game, especially, I don't think they're better than the Pistons. Like, I think the Pistons would beat them in a play-in game. But yeah, man. Next up, we got the Philadelphia 76ers, man. The Philadelphia 76ers, to me, if they're healthy, I think they could be up here as contenders. This is a serious team if they're healthy, man. You got Joel Embiid, who is a top 5 player, top 6 player in the world, in my opinion. You drafted VJ Edgecombe, who looks very solid in Summer League. You got Jared McCain, who probably would have been Rookie of the Year had he not gotten injured. Then you got Tyrese Maxey, who's an all-star. You got Quentin Grimes, who really he really broke out last season. You got guys like Kelly Oubre still. You did lose Gershon Yabusele. I didn't like that loss. But honestly, man, this is one of the more deeper teams in the league, man. But I'm going to put the Philadelphia 76ers. If there's one time for them to really, pray for health, it is this season with the Boston Celtics and the Pacers being out. I still think, like I said, the Cleveland Cavaliers are probably heavy favorites right now. But honestly, man, if this team is fully healthy, I think they're probably the second, closest to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I really like them. Going into next season, especially. I know I probably just disrespected Knicks fans, and I know if you're a Knicks fan, you're probably pissed off that I just said that, man, but I don't know, man. Something about the Philadelphia 76ers. I got hope for them going into next season. Anyways, we got the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets this offseason, I sort of liked what they've done, especially in the draft, drafting Liam McNeely, Con Kneppel. Like, this is Ryan Kalkbrenner, and Sion James. Like, they had a pretty solid draft. I'll give them that. They re-signed Terrence Mann as well. I thought that was a big re-sign for sure. But honestly, man, LaMelo Ball, I don't trust him with the injury history, and I don't know if they're better than some of these play-in teams we got in here. But honestly, we got to have 10 play-in teams, so I don't know. I'm going to put them in rebuild, but I might end up moving in here. I haven't really counted yet. But anyways, we got the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards have a solid young core. I know I just realized I probably got to put some teams down here. Don't know who it's going to be yet, honestly, man. Actually, I'm going to put the Bulls. I think the Bulls are going to be very bad next season. I know they got Kobe White and they got guys like Nikola Vucevic who are amazing players. But honestly, man, there's not going to be a lot of bad teams. I don't think there's going to be a lot of very bad teams going into next season, so I'm not too sure who to put down here. I think this is probably going to be my bottom three. This is going to be my bottom three right here. We've got the Jazz, the Bulls, and the Nets. I don't know if that's a hot take to anyone. But anyways, next up we got the Washington Wizards. I'm going to go ahead and put them at rebuild, but they have an amazing young core. They traded for Cam Whitmore. They drafted Trey Johnson. They drafted Will Riley. Like, this is a team. They have Alex Sarr. I made a whole video on them. They got Bilal Coulibaly. This is a very, very good team. They got Bub Carrington, Keontae George. Not Keontae George. Why can't I think of his name? Oh, that's going to bug me. Why can't I not? Keyshawn George. Sorry. Keyshawn George. Like, this is a very solid team. A.J. Johnson, who really broke out for them once, they traded Chris Middleton. They acquired, they traded Kyle Kuzma and received Chris Middleton and A.J. Johnson. Just an absolute fleece. I think a huge jump for them, honestly, would be a play-in team. They got sort of that vet leadership. I actually might move the Wizards. I'm going to put the Wizards as a play-in team. As that 9 or 10 spot with the Celtics. I really like their mix of vets and young talent. I think you got, C.J. McCollum, you got Marcus Smart, you got Chris Middleton. Like, this is a ton of vet leadership on this team. I think they're going to surprise some people, man. We got the Orlando Magic. They're a playoff team to me easily. Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter. Like, this is a very good team. Jonathan Isaac. This is just a very solid team, and I think they're going to make a huge, significant leap. I think the Desmond Bane trade really moves the needle for me. I know it probably doesn't move it for a lot of people, but it moves it for me, at least just get that, top 6 seed in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Next up, we got the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat have a very underrated roster, I would say. They have 2 All-Stars in Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. They drafted Kasparas Giannakis, which I thought was the biggest steal in the draft, with 20th overall pick. Hasn't really been playing that great in Summer League, but he did just have a 25-point game performance. So I think he's going to start breaking out here in Summer League. But, man, they also have Kel'el Ware. I already mentioned Bam Adebayo. They got Andrew Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, just, these solid defenders on this roster. But something about the Miami Heat, I just think they're going to be a play-in team again, honestly, man. I really, really do. So that means I probably have to drop someone here. I definitely have to drop someone here. Dude, there's just, now looking at it, man, there's just a lot of good teams. There's just a lot of good teams. I'm sorry, Wizards fans. I know I propped you up earlier. There's just a lot of good teams to leave out, and I don't want to leave out the Miami Heat. I think their floor is a play-in team to me, honestly. Next up, we got the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, I already made a video on them. Other than the Nuggets, I think they've had probably the biggest impact. I think the Nuggets in the Western Conference and the Hawks in the Eastern Conference, those are the teams that have won this offseason in free agency, in my opinion. They signed Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They signed Luke Kennard. They also traded for Kristaps Porzingis. And this is a team that they also drafted Asal Newell, I thought was a steal. They have an all-star in Trae Young. Dyson Daniels was second in DPOY. They got Onyeka Okongwu. They got Zachary Reese-Shea, who was the number 1 overall pick last season. And then we got Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson, I believe, will be an all-star. Like, this is just a team I'm very high on, man. This is just a team I am very high on. Then we got the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers, I know they still have talent on their team. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to put them in rebuild. I know they have talent on their team. You got an all-star still in Pascal Siakam. I think Andrew Nembhard is going to have a breakout year now, being able to be the lead guard with Tyrese Halliburton now. You got Benedict Mathurin. But losing Tyrese Halliburton for the year, and then you lose Miles Turner, like, those are 2 of your top 3 players. And I know they still have talent on this roster. I just mentioned a lot of it. Their starting center is Ryan Huff going into next year, or Isaiah Jackson. Just not good enough center depth on this roster. And I really just think they're going to take this year to really just sit back and let the younger guys develop, and let Andrew Nembhard break out, let Benedict Mathurin get his shots up. But yeah, man, they still have Aaron Nesmith as well. I know this is still a very good team, but I have to leave a team out, and I just think the Raptors are going to take a significant leap. I know some of you guys are probably going to want me to drop one of probably the Raptors or the Miami Heat, but I just can't do it, man. I just can't. I'm really high on the Raptors going into next season. I think they're going to take a leap, and I just think with the injury of Tyrese Halliburton and the loss of Miles Turner, like I said, 2 of your top 3 guys, I just think it's going to take a huge, it's going to take a huge leap. I think Andrew Nemhard is probably going to be the guy that takes the huge leap, but I think you would need like two of your three guys, or two or three guys to take huge leaps. And I think Andrew Nemhard is going to do it. I think Mathurin could do it, but who's going to be that third guy? I just don't know. I think Andrew Nemhard is for sure going to take this leap, though. Like, I just have significant faith in Andrew Nemhard. And then Benedict Mathurin, I'm like 50-50 on. I think he could have a breakout year. But anyways, man, that's going to do it for my rankings post-free agency. Let me know what you guys think. Is there something you guys don't like? That's going to do it for the rest of this video, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.